Today, the Carolina Panthers potentially got their best news of the offseason, and it has been reported that defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero will be retained and has chosen to stay with the Carolina Panthers, along with the new coaching staff with Dave Canellis. Now, we know Ejiro Evero was hired last year with this all-star coaching staff with Frank Wright after he got some interviews and was actually allowed to leave the Broncos because he was under contract with them. Nathaniel Hackett was fired, and he ended up being on the open market. So back-to-back years, Ejiro Evero was part of coaching staffs that were one and done. However, he's able to stay one more year. He's one of the higher paid defensive coordinators in the league with $3 million per year as his salary, and he has 2 years remaining. He did have some suitors for head coaching positions with the Seahawks and the Falcons, of course, but that didn't materialize for him. But he also had some inquiries for defensive coordinator, but it was thus blocked because lateral moves can be blocked by the team that holds your contract rights. And that's exactly what David Tepper did. He knew what he has in Ejiro Evero. And the bonuses for here is that you keep him more than 2 years, you get that Rooney Rule pick, but also you have a little bit of continuity and you have the learning curve a little bit shorter for Dave Canellis as he brings in just his only offensive staff. He doesn't have to hit the streets and look for a defensive staff. So in this video today, I'm going to talk a little bit more about what this means for the team going forward and all that and more. But before we get into that, my name is Aaron Duncan with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk. Recap and analysis of the Carolina Panthers is what I do. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. That way you stay up to date with these news and updates and draft content that I'm doing with mock drafts, podcasts, live streams, and all of the above, because this Ejiro Evero news is huge. And I know sometimes we had a little bump in the road about Tepper strong-arming guys and making them retain certain guys in terms of what he did last year with Chris Tabor and James Campen, offensive line coach. But this is not out of the ordinary to do with retaining defensive coaches when you have new coaches coming in, especially when you have a younger, inexperienced coach. The Miami Dolphins did this back when Mike McDaniel was hired and they brought in, and Brian Flores was fired. They kept their defensive coordinator for one more year before he was moved on from, and they brought in somebody else, but they moved on again. So the revolving door keeps happening in Miami, but this is not out of the ordinary. So this is more par for course versus forcing people to retain position coaches. So I like what they're doing now. They completely clean house on the offensive side, but they retain most of the staff on the defensive side. So I think with the Ejiro Evero being able to get a second year under this system, I think the players are just going to be even better. For one, I think they're going to turn the roster a little bit more personnel-wise so Ejiro can get a little bit more of the guys that he likes. You saw during the year that because of injuries and just because of performance, there was a revolving door of personnel at times, from the defensive line to the secondary to even linebackers, just guys trying to plug and play and see who are part of it. Ejiro Evero has the type of guys that he wants in mind, so he was just turning the roster to try to figure out to get those guys to do it and play their role. It's a very assignment driven system where people need to do their job and just be where they need to be and just stay disciplined. And I think that being able to be in this 3-4 or odd front scheme for another year will just be even more, because transitioning from the traditional 4-3 to the 3-4 base is a little bit of some growing pains that can happen. But being able to retain this guy for one more year, another year in the system from everybody. We saw career years from Derek Brown. Will we see stuff from everybody else? I think this also means that writing is probably on the wall for Jeremy Chinn. We saw that he didn't get much playing time. The only way I saw him potentially returning is if we got a new system. That's not the case. He'll be on the open market. I expect him fully to move on. But also having this type of experience and ability with a guy that was able to maximize the output of this defense, I think that it allows us to kind of keep this defense competitive while we focus on upgrading the assets and the personnel on the offensive side of the football, where Dave Canellis can get the guys in that he wants to support Bryce Young. Do we have to upgrade some other positions on defense? Yes, but we clearly saw that you could plug and play certain guys in the Ejiro system and he'll still be able to get what was a top 10 defense in terms of total offense or total defense in terms of yardage out of them. So he's able to maximize the guys there and do what coaches are supposed to do, put guys in position to succeed and try to get the most out of it. Obviously, they didn't improve on tackling and stopping the run, but I do see that there will be progress. But you also heard that Dave Canellis was singing the praises of Ejiro Evero with the 2 matchups against the Bucks. We really had the Bucks in the blender in both those matches. One was in the rain, obviously, but kept them out of the end zone. In the second matchup, when we only lost 9-0, the defense really did their part, and a couple things go our way on the offense where like they should have. We probably win that game thanks to a stellar defensive performance. He'll also be able to get Shaq Thompson back. Hopefully you'll get a healthy JC Horn. And like I said, more and more guys that you want of your guys in free agency and in just the draft as well. And we'll be able to get this defense to step it up a notch even more. That way we have a bigger safety net. And like I said, room for error on the offense as we implement the new Dave Canella system. And we come around and try to get a little bit more productive in year 2 of Bryce Young. Dave Canella really did sing his praises because he said he wanted to actually chop it up with Ejiro Evero, talk about some strategies, because that type of defense has given him trouble over the years, even going back to his days in Seattle when they played against the Rams.
What's your confidence level? Is the defensive staff going to be back intact?
Oh my gosh. I mean, just the respect factor that I have going against him. I know this scheme going against it. I'm really excited to learn more about the ins and outs as far as how the calls come in, the adjustments and all that. I just know it was really difficult on me for years, whether it was in Seattle going against the Rams in that family, or this year just going against EJ twice. So, and this is really important for me, especially as a first-time head coach who's like, I'm here to make sure we get our football right, especially on the offensive side, that we have that continuity with the players, with EJ, you know, just being able to have the mentality that I saw that was really challenging to play against. Yes, I mean, this is, you know, for me, like a huge piece of what we're doing.
Dave Canella really did sing his praises because he said he wanted to actually chop it up with Ejiro Evero, talk about some strategies, because that type of defense has given him trouble over the years, even going back to his days in Seattle when they played against the Rams. The Rams, they're the one that kind of made this system popular with Ejiro, of course, the Vic Fangio system overall, and Brandon Staley was there as well, all running this similar type of style of defense. And Canella says that he's had some issues with it in the past, so being able to chop it up with somebody in-house about that will only help him be better. And I really like the humbleness from Dave Canella admitting that it was giving him trouble, and he actually wants to be able to learn from Ejiro and really bigging up him. Maybe that was part of the selling point that helped him get Ejiro to want to stay. I don't know, but they work some magic, money talks, and I think with Ejiro being who he is, a family man, I think having to move year in and year out, yeah, you want to go to where you're more comfortable. Maybe he has some friends up in Green Bay, which I'm understanding that reported that had he been available, it was mutual interest on both sides. So he probably would have been in Green Bay, but the South is warm. He guys making a good salary. He has probably some young kids, I think. And so doing all that moving, yes, it's part of the business, but if you could stay there, get paid, and hopefully marinate one more year to hopefully make some magic and build on, and like I said, finally have a second year in a system for the first time as a defensive coordinator to be able to build your resume even more as a head coach, it's a win-win situation. And like I said, the Panthers will get a 3rd-round pick if he gets hired as a head coach, now that he will be fitting that 2-year mark that is required for the Rooney Rule. You guys let me know down below in the comments how you feel about Ejiro sticking around. Do you think that Tepper should have let Canella build his own staff on the defense as well? Do you think that this was a little bit overstepping by him? Are you happy about him being back? And what are your expectations for Ejiro Evero in year 2 as the defensive coordinator? Do you expect him to still be top 10? Do you expect him to be better, worse? Let me know how you feel down below in the comments. Like I said, he's getting some guys back healthy. And also, we got some work to do in free agency in terms of Brian Burns and Frankie Luvu and whatever we're going to do there. So we'll see how things shake out. But I want to get your thoughts down below. Without further ado, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I'll see you next time. Peace.